Okay, let's look at the thoracic and the abdominal aorta. So thoracic I like to refer to as thoracic aorta, and that's because the arch of aorta kind of starts around about T4 and it ends around about T4, but the descending, that's the ascending, the arch, and then the descending aorta continues from T4 to T12. T12 is where there is the aortic hiatus within the diaphragm, and the aortic hiatus is what transmits the aorta through the diaphragm. Now, in terms of the thoracic aorta, it has the following branches. Ben made every person suffer. That's a bit sad, Ben. And the arteries that come off of it are the bronchial arteries, the mediastinal arteries, the esophageal arteries, esophagus would be spelled with an E, P for pericardiac arteries, and S for subcostal arteries. And the bronchial supply the lungs, the mediastinal supply the posterior aspect of the mediastinum, the esophageal arteries supply the lower 1/3 of the esophagus, the pericardiac supply the pericardium, and the subcostal supply the subcostal spaces. Okay, and also you also have the picas and the subcostal branches. So the posterior intercostal arteries, which supply the thoracic wall, there's a diagram, and also there's a picture in the last video I posted on the cadaver sections. So there's a picture of the cadaver section where you can see how these posterior intercostal arteries look, and subcostal. In terms of the abdominal aorta, the way I remember it is just basically this. Now you have cilia when missing, and cilia is supposed to remind you of the celiac trunk. Missing could remind you of median sacral, but I have another one for that. So IMI is supposed to remind you of inferior mesenteric. So is supposed to remind you of superior mesenteric. Launched investigation CSI style, so that's supposed to remind you of the three main unpaired visceral trunks of arteries: celiac trunk, superior mesenteric, and of course inferior mesenteric. Mr. G is supposed to remind you of MRG, so there's a middle suprarenal artery, there's a renal artery, there's a gonadal artery. Mr. G, middle suprarenal, renal. Gonads is supposed to remind you of gonadal. And remember, gonadal can be ovarian for females and testicular for males. She will have to make a sacrifice. Make sacrifice is your median sacral. Now, how does this look? Like this. Oh yeah, and don't forget inferior phrenic. So